All right, and we are going live. I am Drew Martin, the host of the SBR Betting Roundtable. We got a slew of handicappers here with you. I'm really excited about today's show. A full slate. We got MLB, NBA Finals, NHL, maybe a little CFL, and don't forget about best bets. So we'll go right around the horn here, introduce everybody. Donnie Rightside, you can find him at DonnieRightside.com, on Twitter at RightsideVP. Donnie, how you doing today, buddy?
Hey, doing good. Month of May is going to close, another winner for us there, so having a lot of fun. I did have a total yesterday with the Brewers and the Mets game, which was a 9. Ended up being a push in that one. Got a little bit of luck, but I just want to let it be known out there, on my grave, do not put RIP. Put RISP on my grave, because it seems like nobody gets a hit anymore with runners in scoring position out there.
It's the frustrating betting of baseball for sure, Donnie. Well, hey, big man on campus. You can find him on Twitter at Jeff Nadeau. That's Nadu at the end of the normal American spelling of Jeff. So big man on campus. How you doing today, man?
Doing good, Drew. I'm out of Twitter jail. I was banned yesterday for the entire day. I couldn't tweet at all. I'm kind of mad about that, but I'm back with you guys, and I couldn't be happier to be a part of the panel. One thing I can say, Drew, Buster Posey finally showed his true colors Monday, showing us exactly what kind of guy he is. He's a guy that doesn't back up his friends. I'm sure we'll talk about that. We'll add that to the growing list of issues I have with Buster Posey.
Actually, yeah, we got to tip our caps to you on that one. That was a little below the belt move there by Buster. Not sure what was going on, but moving down the line, Ian Cameron can find his work at Sports Memo, a regular contributor here at SBR, and on Twitter at Bobano. That's Bobano on Twitter. Ian from Canada, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, Drew. On a day like this with a special guest in Teddy, who can't you find at Sports Memo? I mean, holy mackerel. There's enough Sports Memo people here than you can shake a stick at. But, yeah, looking forward to the show today. Great roundtable, my favorite show. Jeff said it time and time again. This is my favorite show of the week at SBR. Great handicappers, great people, great opinions, and great discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't say it any better. And the man, the myth, the legend, Teddy Covers. Find him on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. His work at Sports Memo, and obviously a great show with SportsBit here on SBR. We're happy to have him. Teddy, how are you, man?
Well, I'm stressed out. We had one of these mornings where it was nothing but technical issues with SportsBit. Unfortunately, we're not going to have a show today. We will have a show tomorrow. Everything has been fixed up moving forward. But what does that mean? That means we get to talk live chat right here. It should be a lot of fun. I haven't done one of these with you guys before. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so are we, Teddy. And let's get right into it. We start off with the MLB betting topics. It's not broken, so we're not going to fix it. And we're going to go right into teams to fade and teams to bet on. We'll start right with Jeff, big man. What are you thinking as far as this week? Teams looking to bet on or teams looking to fade?
I mean, Drew, you said it best. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I probably said this about 50,000 times with this team with Donnie Rightside over the last 2 weeks. The LA Dodgers, I'm not going to jump off this ship. I mean, why would I? This team's 33-20. Opponents are hitting 232 against them this year. They have a great pen. They have a good closer. Not many teams can say that. They're also very good offensively. I think people kind of maybe look at their lineup and, maybe those casual people don't know some of the names. They've had some injuries with Justin Turner and guys like that. But you look at their batting average, their slugging, on base percentage. They also have the best team ERA in baseball. Why wouldn't you want to back this team going forward? They're looking like a real contender. Again, it's only June. I'm aware of that. But right now we're in the business of talking week to week. There's no better team right now to back than the LA Dodgers. They've just been on fire, and that's something I preached all year. Real quick, Drew, if I can point something out. In their 33 wins this year, 29 have come by 2 or more runs. 88% of the time, they're winning by 2 or more runs. You're getting tremendous continued money back when you bet them on the run line. And they're not going to be a team that's going to give up those leads late. They just don't do it very often.
So would you think it's something to recommend as far as looking to bet on them on the -1.5 run line?
I think very much so at home, Drew. I've done that, and Donnie can back me up on that. I've done that plenty at home. I mean, they just are on fire at home, particularly, but now they're starting to win the road as well. I don't know how you don't. I mean, 88% is nothing to not to shake a stick at. That's impressive. Not many teams can say that long term over a month or 2 months here. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'll continue to do it.
Yeah, props to you, big man, on that. Me and Matty Ice were out watching the Cardinals game, and we were both saying how hot that team is. So props to you for calling that, man. And yeah, no need to jump off that train. But yeah, Donnie, what teams are you looking at backing or fading?
Yeah, looking going forward, again, I'm going to go back to the well in one of my games and my teams that I've been preaching at all along is the Twins on the road. And it's not about how well they have been doing on the road, even though they are 14-5 overall. It's the price that you're going to get with the Twins on the road and the bats they bring to the table. Get a quality start, a decent bullpen, and 1 through 9 right now, they're slugging. You see a lot of these games, I mean, they run into the Astros, are going to take some losses. Tampa Bay stole one from them the other day, but it's all about the value that you get on the road. And another team, I'm going to go right to Ian's neighborhood, the Toronto Blue Jays now. The boys are back in town. That team's going to hit the rest of the season. If they can get some good pitching, they're a worthwhile wager, even though they're only 24-24 on the season. Look for them going forward to put it a little bit in overdrive here. Yeah,
I like that call, getting Donaldson back. And we were just talking about that earlier.
Yeah, all back, yeah.
Yeah, really. And they're not being priced too expensive. I mean, even today, down lower than -120 at some books versus Cincinnati. So you might be onto something there, Donnie. Ian or Teddy, you guys want to jump in with teams to bet on or fade?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of bet on, I was going to say Dodgers. Jeff mentioned them already. They're a team that's been fantastic at the plate. Their starting pitching's gotten it done. The bullpen has been lights out, automatic almost in the latter innings of games, able to shut the door, put up zeros when it counts. And believe me, we have not seen many bullpens have consistent ability to put up zeros late in games when the time counts. We've talked about it ad nauseum, how pathetic some of these bullpens have been, how a disgrace to baseball, to be honest, some of them have been. The LA Dodgers haven't been one of them. It's been very impressive to see. The Blue Jays are a good one. Donnie, that's a good one. And Jay Happ back in the rotation now. The starting rotation is really starting to get healthy again. Donaldson and Tulowitzki back in the lineup, really lengthen this lineup, deepen it. Now there's more hitters, more protection for Jose Bautista. Definitely Toronto a team to keep your eye on. And they've absolutely crushed Cincinnati's pitching here in this interleague series, first 2 games this week. So Toronto's a team to keep an eye on. For a fade team for me, I talked about the Dodgers being a bet-on team. I'm going to look at the other LA team as a fade team, the LA Angels, because I think the Mike Trout injury is an absolute disaster for this team. I mean, when you look at them offensively, it's Mike Trout and not a whole lot else. It's an aging Albert Pujols who goes in and out of hitting slumps, actually has had more hitting slumps than hitting streaks, I find. You know, it's been a disaster for a guy like C.J. Cron. Cole Calhoun's been hit or miss at the plate. I mean, this offense without Mike Trout, where are the runs going to come from? Andrelton Simmons is a great defensive player, but his is mediocre at the best at times. And again, pitching, not exactly great on this Angels team, starting rotation-wise, or their bullpen, which has been spotty to say the least. It's going to be tough for Mike Scioscia, I think, to last beyond this season. I think this LA Angels team already playing. I know they beat up on Atlanta last night and Bartolo Colon there, who's been god-awful for the Braves. But going forward, I don't see much upside or positive vibes coming from the LA Angels.
Hey, Drew?
Yeah, go ahead, big man.
I just wanted to mention something about the Mike Trout situation. It's amazing to me. You look at the difference in WAR between Ben Revere, his replacement, and Mike Trout. Mike Trout over 14, Ben Revere -2.5. Just an amazing discrepancy. I mean, clearly the amount of talent you're getting between one and the other, it's just so amazing. And I think he's dead on. I mean, that lineup is dog shit without Mike Trout. I mean, they are brutally bad. And it's amazing how, you go from one to another in just one little injury. Amazing.
Yeah, no, it is. That's a great point. And guys, I'm right with you as far as LA. It will be interesting to see how they're priced going forward. I was looking to fade them right off the bat, and it kind of sucks that they're playing the Braves at home, because the Braves I have on that list as well without Freddie Freeman. It's kind of a almost the same situation, not to the extent. So
they're mirror images. They're mirror images, Drew. I mean, what are the Braves doing without Freeman offense? I know Markakis has had a good season. Kemp stayed healthy. I'll give Matt Kemp credit. He stayed healthy. He's produced a little bit, but without Freddie Freeman, it's not the same Atlanta lineup. And I'll tell you right now, it sure as fuck ain't going to be the same Angels lineup without Mike Trout. Not even close.
Well said. Well, Teddy Covers, what are you thinking for bet on teams?
Well, am I allowed to argue with Ian?
Absolutely.
All right.
It's encouraged.
All right.
We love arguing here.
So here's my thought on the LA Angels. Okay. What are you seeing that the market isn't seeing?
Good point.
Nothing. The markets know. I mean, Trout's injury has been as publicized as any injury in baseball. Everybody knows that the difference between Revere and Trout is, a WAR gap that's as big as is out there. We're seeing a line that probably for today's game, we're minus 121 I'm seeing right now at Bookmaker, minus 125 at Westgate. With Trout in the lineup, that's minus 160. The markets have adjusted on LA. We saw them play with fire last night. They didn't lay down. They don't, we got Trouts out, we stink. No, they came out and bashed the ball around last night. I think there might be value short term.
Yeah, but no offense.
Against old man Cologne. Come on now. Old man Cologne. Brutal. He stinks. And the bullpen behind him. Jim Johnson's the closer. Come on. Jim Johnson. Jim freaking Johnson. Come on.
And Garcia's a much tougher matchup today. But the Angels, in my mind, are not one of these teams you're going to find under the radar that you could, all right, this is a team I could fade every day for the next week.
That I don't argue with.
I don't see that with LA. A team like that, who can I fade every day for the next week? Philadelphia. All you do is the Phillies lineup isn't just bad. Okay. The Phillies lineup right now is legitimately the worst lineup in baseball. Look at the starting pitchers they faced in their last 10 games.
and Volquez.
They can't hit anybody.
Unbelievable.
Right now. I mean, they all joke, if I go in there. I mean, I literally think I can get 3 scoreless innings against the Phillies right now. And my fastball tops out at 58. So, but Philadelphia is a team that, again, you look at the numbers today. Here they are. They got Nola. They got all these hot pitching prospects that some of the wise guys like. Nola. Oh boy, Nola. Doesn't matter if you can't hit. And here they are. Even money to back the Philly plus 105. You're not seeing the market crash on Philadelphia the way it's going to crash on LA because the Phillies have the advanced metrically superior starting pitching. Therefore, there's going to be likely to be a continued value bet against the Phillies more than there will be to bet against the Angels. That's my 2 cents.
Hey, Teddy, just to come back at you, why do you think it would be minus 160 today on the Angels? Is it Trout being priced 35 points? Because
yes, Trout is priced between 30 and 40 cents.
Okay.
And no other player in baseball is close.
Would you guys all agree with that? Big man Donnie, is he priced that high?
I mean,
I think in the initial weeks, probably the market overreaction because, nobody's going to want to dig into that Trout lineup. Everybody, when I've seen, rolling through Twitter the last 2 to 3 days with Trout now out of the lineup, you get a lot of LOLs out there when you see guys that you've never even heard of popping into that lineup. But there is some truth to be told that it's all about betting and betting in value. If you think Mike Trout's going to be that big of a difference here, even if they might even overpitch Mike Trout coming up, even though he's not even in there, walking him more than not. So if you're going to see that big of a market reaction, maybe there is some value on the LA Angels here.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting argument. It's a tough one, and if you can figure it out, you can make some money, no doubt about it.
If the Angels want to show me some fire, go out and hit something against Jaime Garcia tonight. Go do it.
Well, sure, we'll find out.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was just looking into it. It looks like they're about average versus lefties. I mean, I would put Garcia average, if not maybe a little above average as far as lefties goes at the major league level. So tonight might be a telling sign as far as betting on or against LA.
Did anyone watch that pathetic inning from the Braves last night defensively? That was disgusting to watch. I mean, it was hard to believe they're major league players. I had the over, so I was loving it. But, I mean, look, I've battered Cologne a lot. I mean, I probably battered him more than anyone on the free world. But, I mean, just a pathetic defensive backing last night from that group. Amazingly bad. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, as far as fade teams, I mean, for me, I'm not looking to bet on the Braves anytime soon without Freddie Freeman. I think his defense at first base has been really improved the last couple of years. Also, the young shortstop, he's kind of becoming a little bit of a head case. I know that he's a top prospect, but when you're not a good defensive shortstop, it can hurt. But hey, going back around, Donnie, I know you had a fade team you wanted to get out to the listeners.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically
the Phillies?
Get back to
Phillies?
Yeah, exactly. With Keith, in his low-hanging fruit here, the Phillies is very easy. I mean, home, away, pitchers. Send a single A guy out there. Back in the day with the Eagles had tryouts. Vince Papale goes in there. Just try somebody in South Philadelphia, throw a fastball. We can all have some fun. Show up at the ballpark. They're out the door until they move up some of their AAA kids. But other than that, it would be same as last night. I'm going to go back and give Jeff a lot of credit last night. Right when we went on the show, 83% of the public was backing the Cubs in a game that had over 12,000 tickets tracked on that one, a heavy, heavy underdog being San Diego. And my point's going to be the Cubs on the road. And again, it's all about betting value. It's not that the Cubs are, minus 105 on the road. The Cubs lay big numbers on the road with big name pitchers and seem to get beat on the regular now. I believe it's 5 straight losses. So one team to fade going forward outside of Wrigley is you're going to get a nice dog price on the Cubs if you bet against them.
Yeah, no argument here. I mean, does anybody else have a feeling on that or want to throw out another fade MLB team?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked with the Cubs. I agree with that. I'll talk about Texas. I mean, I had a little stretch where I think a lot of us kind of looked at Texas against Oakland, the Phillies, even San Diego, and we were high on them. And they played well. They won, I think, 10 of 11. But you look at since then, they've lost 7 of 12. They're a horrible road team. They can't hit on the road. Their pen has been disastrous. I'm just wondering at what point are they going to realize Sam Dyson's is having some issues in the major leagues? I mean, how many times are we going to continue to throw this guy out there? You look at today, this kid they're throwing out. I remember watching 2 weeks ago or so him make his major league debut, and he couldn't believe he was up to the major leagues. He was he was doing some minor league stuff, and his girlfriend was there, was all that normal stuff. But we're seeing a lot of these starters come in, these new starters making their way in the major leagues. But you look at last night, Bridwell, that guy had no business up in the major leagues. I talked about his inability. In 686 innings, he was in 33 innings, even only in AAA. He had little experience in the major leagues. Guys like that, guys like Bibbins, Dirk, or whatever his name is, they're going to struggle. They have so many injuries. And you look at their schedule coming up, Houston, the Mets, Washington, and then Houston again. I think, for the next couple of weeks, they're going to be a tough team to kind of get into.
And the team they're playing this week, the Tampa Bay Rays, I talked about them last week. If they can get a modicum of offense, a modicum of hitting, you can back this team. You can make some money with them because their pitching is decent. I know the bullpen's a little scary at times, but the Tampa Bay Rays have quietly played solid baseball for a week or two now and been profit makers during that time.
And they're really hitting on the road. At the Trop, all of their scoring is deflated. Look at what Tampa's done. The last 10 games on the highway, they've hit just about everybody. I'm with you on the Rays being a potential value-laden squad with everybody except Chris Archer on the hill. Chris Archer is a starter that the wise guys love, and they pound him every time, and you're not getting value necessarily with Archer. But with a lot of the other guys that the Rays bring to the table, is definitely a team that offers that value. And one thing that BMOC said that I want to touch on real quick, when you're talking about the call-ups, when you're talking about the prospects, all right, the first guy that's getting called up, hey, he's probably ready. The second guy, probably close. The third guy, maybe. When you start getting into a situation like Cincinnati, where you literally are calling up 5, 6, 7 starting pitchers since the start of the season, you're not getting quality guys who are major league ready when it comes to that 5th, 6th, or 7th call-up. So be aware where in the pecking order any particular prospect is when they're making their first MLB debut. I mean, the guy, Bibbins Dirk today, I'm not as concerned about him as I have been for some of the guys that Cincinnati's been bringing to the table, or riding out to the mound.
Yeah, great point, Teddy. I mean,
come on, Luis Alberto Bonilla is the guy that stands out to me. That
sure.
Business being in a friggin' rotation, none, zero.
But we love guys like that. The guys that shouldn't be there. You guys are ripping them. How can we rip? We love these guys because you bet against them and you bet overs and they make you money and you want them to last in the rotation as long as they possibly can.
Amen.
Please give me another start with Bonilla. Please give me another start with Bonilla. So, the fans can hate them. As bettors, we love these guys.
Yeah, I'd like to...
With Kyle Kendrick when he was up for a little bit. Yeah.
I'd also like to say a prayer for Zach Eflin, who I kind of bet against for the last 2 years. Philly's actually wised up a little bit and said we're going to send him down. But again, we're not going to get into the Phillies. I don't want to get kicked off SBR today for my language. So yeah, say a prayer for Zach Eflin.
WIP Philly Sports Radio with Jeff Nadeau and Donnie Rightside.
Yeah, we'll get kicked off the air if we start.
We would.
No, great stuff, guys. And hey, watchers out there, we got about 100 of you just on YouTube right now. We really appreciate you tuning in. If you like what you're hearing, please give us a like, not a dislike. We like the likes more. It helps us out. So we appreciate you tuning in. Hey, guys, anybody want to throw out particular starting pitchers to back or fade? Anybody got any names they're looking to get on or fade this week?
Yeah, I'll give one for both. I mean, I'll go to the well and just kind of continue to talk about him. He should be someone you're fading every week. I don't know what we're waiting on here. Bartolo Colon. I mean, he's got the worst ERA in the major leagues for qualified pitchers. I mean, the guy's a 7 ERA through 11 games. Now, again, I know for sabermetric people that doesn't mean much, but you look at his opponent batting average 325. He's given up 5+ runs in his starts 5 different times. Keep in mind, Bartolo Colon's making $12.5 million this year. He's got a bad bullpen behind him, and I think it's time that Bartolo Colon maybe walk off into the sunset. No team's going to pick up his money for the rest of the year or next year. He's not a guy that no one wants. It was just a bad spot for him also. I mean, his obviously his pitching peripherals have went down significantly, but he has a bad lineup behind him, a bad bullpen behind him. It was just a bad situation. At least in New York, he had somewhat of a pitching group when he was there, but it's just gotten really bad for him. He has that one pitch, but he was able to hit spots and stuff for a long period of time. He's not doing that anymore, and he's throwing a ton of meatballs. We've seen that time and time again. Other than, obviously last night he had some unearned runs, but he's been horrible. I mean, every single start.
Okay. And Donnie, are we bringing up is this the time we bring Triggs into the conversation? Or
if Triggs doesn't get a win, we can't really bring him up, but I'm sure the T-shirts, the fan base, the MVP votes will kick up again during his next start, and we can, start grinding.
Yeah, he looked good in his last start, Donnie, didn't he?
Hey, Superman doesn't have a great day every day on the mound. We'll see if he can kick it back up. But a pitcher of betting value that I'm looking to bet doesn't have many starts on the year. And we're going to go back to the Tampa Rays and keep hitting on that well. You know me on the roundtables, late night at campus, right side of campus. I love the Tampa Bay Rays at home. But take a look at Erasmo Ramirez. 4 starts this year. Sort of that guy, that glue guy. Every 5th day, every 6th day, maybe they skip him on a start. But his 4 starts this year, 4-0 to the number. And again, it's all about betting moderately priced teams. You're going to get a good number when he's on the mound, especially if he's facing a named pitcher. So take a look for Erasmo Ramirez and his spot starts coming up over the next month, a month and a half. You get a good price on him.
Yeah, you can get a good price. And last time he was out, it was a tough spot for him because he came out the night before, right, Donnie?
Yeah, guy pitches the night before, an inning goes the next day, and I believe the Rays won as well on that day as well. But it's not about actually him pitching well, but he's going to give 4 to 5 innings of a good start. And again, it's all about the number based, and we all know the Rays can hit the baseball. So if you're going to get plus 110, plus 120, plus 130 with the guy, sometimes it's worth a crack, and he's working out well this year.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's pretty much consensus looking to get on Tampa, at least for the near future.
Yeah, Drew, one quick point. I have a guy that you could kind of fade on the road or fade on home and bet on the road. I mean, Robbie Ray's looked very good. I mean, on the road this year. I mean, we're not going to look at his numbers and say, well, I mean, he's been fantastic. 0.64 ERA on the road, a 134 average against. His whip is significantly low. But you look at his home stats in his career, the splits are ugly. I mean, he's a horrible home pitcher. And I know, Chase Field's not, the greatest park to be in, but his whip is high, his ERA is high. He's just totally different at home. And Arizona's a weird team. Last year they were poor on the road and good at home. This year they're good at home and poor on the road. They're just an odd team. They're truly a situation to situation team. Last night it was, I had the unders, a really good play for me, but Robbie Ray back at home might be a guy you want to maybe bet against, but on the road you want to back. I also like Ivan Nova. He's been one of the shining lights for the Pirates. He's actually second in the major leagues, only to Chris Sale in duration of start per game. I mean, he's going deep into games. You look at last night, he had a really good outing until like the last inning. He's been particularly strong. He's actually got better numbers this year than Robbie Ray, who many called a Cy Young candidate last night, which maybe they're not looking at his home starts.
Yeah, home road splits are real, and it's a great point, big man.
All Robbie Ray's got to do is harness in some control and command. I mean, if he does that, he can get swings and misses with the best of them. I mean, his stuff is filthy. Just get the walk.
Sorry, guys, but I think Robbie Ray at home is going to be a value-laden pitcher moving forward. Remember, Chase Field.
But he's been horrible in his career at home.
Listen, April and May, the roof is open. September, the roof is open. June, July, and August, the roof is closed. So what you see from Ray consistently in Arizona, really ugly home numbers in April and May, better over the summer when the ball doesn't carry as well with the roof closed, and then struggling in September. But more than that, I am fairly convinced that this is a pitcher that's turned the corner. And if you've looked at him, his last 3 starts, he hasn't been good. He's been freaking dominant all 3 times, unhittable. I think that'll translate back home, and I think there may be value on him moving forward. You want to talk pitcher to fade? Maybe that's Chris Tillman. A guy, we're talking about guys that got lit up last night. Tillman, who was good last year for Baltimore, every advanced metric stat he's down is down from this year. His velocity's down, and Tillman's not a guy who can handle a velocity drop. We saw him get lit up again yesterday. A guy with decent numbers in recent seasons is not likely to have decent numbers this year. And for bet on, what about McCarthy and the Dodgers? You're laying the price with Kershaw. You're laying the price with Maeda. There's all these guys you got to lay up a huge price with LA. McCarthy is not one of those guys. He's coming off the DL. He looked real good last time out. I think he may offer some value moving forward.
Good stuff, Teddy. I like that.
Hey, Teddy.
Yes, sir.
Just got a question. I mean, you're not concerned about his overall issues in his career at home. I mean, this isn't just a this year kind of thing. It's been 2015, 2016, and into 2017. He's been horrible at home. I mean, it's not been.
What I'm looking to do, okay, I'm not betting the games from 2015 and 2016. I'm not betting the games from April. All I'm trying to do is say, where's the value moving forward?
Right.
And this is a pitcher who, A, has gotten a lot better this year than he was. So I think right now is a good time to be on Robbie Ray. And B, a ballpark that plays small when the roof is open, plays big when the roof is closed. So therefore, the aggregate numbers are actually giving you a picture that's not accurate of this hurler at this time moving forward. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
No, I got you.
I will say this about Teddy, because I've known the guy forever. He thrives on finding situations where change happens, morphing teams, morphing pitchers, and looks to find the value on those teams and those pitchers or whatever the sport it is. And something that often works. It does, especially if you get the prices you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically my MO as a handicapper is, you find the teams where the full season numbers say this, but the current form says that. And Ray is right now is one of those guys where all the career numbers are going to give, I think, an inaccurate description of where this particular pitcher is right now.
Let's talk in 4 weeks, Teddy.
Okay. I look forward to it.
I made note to track Robbie Ray's, I guess, next month.
I'm definitely going to look at it and see how
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to jump in with my bet on and bet against pitchers. LA, I love LA because I got one bet on from the Dodgers, one bet against for LA. Alex Wood for the Dodgers has been fantastic. I hope the prices don't get outrageous for him moving forward, but Alex Wood's been fantastic for the LA Dodgers. You look at how consistent he has been. He has now gone, 4 straight starts now without an earned run allowed. Just fantastic. His strikeout numbers, how about 60 strikeouts in 48 innings this year for Alex Wood? Absolutely fantastic, getting swings and misses left and right, coming off several gems. I mean, he's given up just 2 hits or less now in 2 of his last 4 starts, shutouts in all 4 of his last 4 starts. So Alex Wood, to me, as long as the prices don't get outrageous, a bet on pitcher in the short term moving forward. For the LA Angels, bet against, and I've already bet against him his last 2 starts because I was pretty confident regression was coming for this guy. His peripherals, his metrics, swinging strike rate, Ks per 9, walks per 9, whatever swinging strike rate, whatever you wanted to look at, didn't match up with the ERA, and that's Ricky Nolasco. Tricky Ricky Nolasco for the LA Angels. He's a guy that I bet against a couple times in a row. He's been hammered. The Braves just absolutely pummeled him in 1 inning the other night when Ricky Nolasco faced Atlanta. And that, of course, as we've talked about ad nauseum, Atlanta lineup without Freddie Freeman, which is huge for them, still were able to bash Ricky Nolasco all around Angel Stadium on Monday night. So Ricky Nolasco, a guy I'll be looking to continue to bet against moving forward. He actually might be a pitcher that if he continues on this downward trajectory, maybe he's out of the rotation there.
Let me jump in real quick, Joe. I just got some info. The Twins game, which starts in just a couple of minutes, they're sitting Miguel Sano and Joe Mauer, both out today, which is probably their 2 best bats. So I wanted to note that while we can, being that game first pitch is in just a couple of minutes.
Good update.
Yeah. So, I mean, does that have anything to do? I guess Houston.
Money's pouring in on Houston right now.
Yeah. Yeah. They're already over -140 now.
That's a high over-under, too, sitting at 10. I mean, you even had in the Blue Jays game today, a lot of people sitting, but that's the common theme. Night game, next day, everybody likes to take off. Same thing why everybody always says, be real weary about Sunday afternoon games. Same thing's going on today. Those afternoon games, especially getaway games, are kind of tricky.
Yeah. Hey, Ian, we got Tomar in the chat box here asking about Alex Wood. I actually agree with you. I think he's a good bet on candidate. One thing is he was just coming off the 10-day DL. I'm not sure what his actual status is for this week. And also, he brings up a point. What about pitchers being traded so much? Does that go into factoring how good they will be this year and going forward? Why aren't teams holding on to him?
Well, that's an interesting point. I mean, Alex Wood's a guy that's always had that ability to be a viable starter. Injuries have derailed him. He's had trouble with consistency. I remember when he was with Atlanta, there was a period where actually home runs were a big issue for him, giving up too many of those. Walks at times, again, like a Robbie Ray. Sometimes command got away from him a little bit. Right now, he's harnessing it in for the LA Dodgers, and he's found it right now. And that's a guy that if they find this little, light at the end of the tunnel, and right now we've seen that from Alex Wood, you run with pitchers like that while they've got it, because you don't know. Like with Alex Wood, do we know if he's going to keep pitching this well for the rest of the season or years down the road at the major league level? No, of course we don't. But right now we're seeing a guy that's got swing and miss stuff, that is getting major league hitters out, that is deceiving opposing hitters. There are feeble at bats time and time again that I've seen against Alex Wood in his recent starts. Something that I think you're able to capitalize on, at least in the short term. As for pitchers getting traded, I was thinking Sonny Gray is a guy that was starting to get some notice for the way he had been pitching, but he had a rough couple of innings there last night against Cleveland, much to my chagrin. I took a little stab with Oakland as a big dog there and didn't pan out. Sonny Gray not pitching well in that game, but he had been pitching well recently since he was brought back up by the Athletics. People starting to mention him as a possible trade, a pitcher they'd be looking to trade for at the deadline in terms of teams contending for a World Series this year. So Sonny Gray's an interesting guy, though, to watch moving forward. I don't know if you could just throw him back in the garbage dump now just because of that start last night, because his swinging strike rate just flew up after he got called up. So he's still a guy that I think has got the stuff that could still be a profitable pitcher in the short term.
Ian, just so you know, Wood was placed on the DL. He's got an inflammation in his left SC joint, so he won't be pitching.
That's a shame.
This week. After, he hadn't allowed a run his last 4 starts. He was, brilliant.
Bad timing for that. Shitty timing for an injury. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, and I think they got him on the 10-day DL, so I wasn't sure if they were just giving him extra rest or if it was a serious injury. But hey, to add on to pitchers getting traded, an interesting thing with Alex Wood that I've noticed is he's actually from the Atlanta area. I think he went to the University of Georgia. So, you get that pull from all your high school buddies, college buddies, always, hitting you up and stuff like that. So when he got out of town and went to LA, a pitcher's ballpark, that might have something to do mentally. So betting on him, it really might have a positive change for a young kid. Just a thought I wanted to throw out there. But hey guys, we got a bunch of people talking about today's card, especially Colorado, Seattle, an interesting pitching matchup. Sensatella, Paxton coming off the DL. He's obviously getting bet up to as high as -180 right now. Does anybody want to throw out anything on today's MLB card, especially the Colorado-Seattle game?
Not a penny of my money's going on Seattle. That is for damn sure. Not a penny. And these guys that are coming off the DL, Drew, they've not exactly been sharp in that very first start. Even a guy like one of Teddy's bet on pitchers, McCarthy, wasn't sharp in that first start after when he came off the DL. It was after that he turned it around. So who knows what you're going to get out of James Paxton? I know he's got electric stuff, but that first start off the DL, it's a little tricky. You got to be careful.
And that's a good point also. How deep will they go in games? You look at Jay Happ yesterday. He on a pitch count. You're going to see pitch counts for James Paxton, I would imagine. I didn't look much into his I don't know how long he, relief-wise, what he was doing down in the spring, minor leagues. I'm sorry. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see. That's something concerning. But Ian's right. They're a horrible road team, but they're at home tonight, which is good. They kind of need to be back at home. I think they're 9-21 on the road. But Colorado's been a good road team. I agree.
Been a road terror, Colorado.
Yeah, it's hard to get involved with Seattle. They're just
from a betting perspective, this one with Colorado and Seattle, only 30% of the tickets coming in here on the home team opened up at -150 on Pinnacle and spiked to -172 at 5 Dime. So must be some sharps hammering Seattle in this one, sending that line higher because the majority of the people are on Colorado right now.
Yeah, this is an interesting one to look at. At my first glance, I like Colorado. Sensatella, 2-pitch pitcher, throws hard. I like him, the first time through seeing a lineup. So yeah, I'd look towards the dog right here. But hey guys, we got to turn the page a little bit, get into NBA and NHL. But before we do, want to tell all the listeners about the SBR June Bet Points contest. We've told you about it a few times. It's a 1,500 bet points purse, which will go out to the top finishers. Also, you'll get some SBR swag, some SBR T-shirts sent to you if you finish in the top 5, maybe top 10. Not sure on that, but big man Donnie, Ian, I will all be in it. I don't know about Teddy maybe, but it should be fun. We got a bunch of contestants, and it's a good one to join. It's free to join, so it's really only a positive for you. And if you like handicap and baseball, it's a good thing to be a part of. So check that out. And also, we got about 100 watchers right now. Please give us a like. We only got 37 likes, so you don't want to be a lurker. We would appreciate the likes. But let's get into NBA, NHL playoffs. We got Big Man and Teddy here to talk about the NBA Finals. What are we liking, guys? Who should we be looking to bet on?
I'll let Teddy start it off if he wants.
I don't know if he wants to.
I think he's on mute.
Can't hear
The
you.
problem is, I mean, there we go. Is this better?
I think you're on mute.
Yep.
Okay, good. It was so funny. I was trying to interrupt a minute ago, and I was like, no one's listening to me. I was like, Drew, I got to say something about the Mariners and the Rockies. A line that stinks to high heaven, by the way. And a clear, sharp square divide game where all the wise guys are on Seattle and all the public's on Colorado. And in those games, I tend to not want to be on the public side. That being said, with the NBA Finals, real simple. My thought process for the individual games, I'm probably looking to take points rather than lay them. My thought process for this series, Warriors deserve to be chalk and deserve to be significant chalk. But I give Cleveland a puncher's chance. I know I'm talking to a lot of wise guys in town, and no one's giving Cleveland a chance. And everyone's talking about Cleveland's regular season stats. I could care less about Cleveland's regular season stats. I don't care what they did in October. I don't care what they did in February. The Cavs now are a very different team. Now, do they match up with Golden State? I've got my concerns, particularly Durant. I don't know that the Cavs have any kind of a defensive answer for Durant. I was trying to figure out, how are they going to play him? And obviously we saw the one game Cleveland played here in the regular season. They got annihilated. I mean, it wasn't even a close contest. But I'm not going to sell this Cavs team short. They're the defending champs. They won games 5 and 7 on the road last year, and their team is every bit as good as it was a year ago, if not better, despite the defensive numbers. We saw them play defense when they had to against Boston. And from a pure, again, I think the Warriors are going to win the series. But from a pure price point perspective, I could only look at the Cleveland side. I think that's where the value is, which means I got no series bet. I think Golden State's going to win. The value's on Cleveland. Done. Problem solved. No bet for me.
Good breakdown.
Yeah, Jeff, you want to? You got anything?
No, I was just reading the chat. No, I agree with what he said totally. I'm looking more at a series play for me here. I am concerned though. I mean, you look at the amount of, the playoffs. I mean, just horribly boring for most of the time. It wouldn't surprise me with a movie like atmosphere, like the NBA, where everything seems to be almost scripted in a way, where we see some sort of interesting things going on here. Obviously, we saw Draymond Green get suspended last year. And look, we have to remember, last year Golden State didn't have much of a presence inside. Andrew Bogut was injured. That was a big concern. Green obviously got suspended at points. Now they have that. They have a JaVale McGee. They have a guy that can, they can kind of go to inside. They obviously have, everything to play for here. They obviously want to, kind of get that bad taste out of their mouth at the last year. They obviously want to take it to Cleveland. Listen, they're the best team. We all know that. They're the most talented team. They're the best offensive team. They're the best everything. And Teddy brings up a good point about the defensive problems. Obviously, I know he mentioned he doesn't look much into the regular season, and you probably shouldn't, but we can't get away from the fact that this team had a lot of trouble throughout the year defensively. Will they have continued trouble? No. Obviously, it's the NBA Finals. They're going to probably turn that up a little bit. But for me, I mean, it's hard for me to believe Golden State doesn't win this series. I don't think there's any way it goes 7 games. I know a couple people were talking about that here. I think it's like a 4-2 type of series. I think Cleveland will win a game or two, but I just think with what happened last year with the obviously addition of Durant and obviously an inside presence for Golden State, they're just much stronger. And who knows what would even happen last year if Draymond Green's in there and they had some sort of a presence inside. They have that now. I think they'll win this series fairly easily.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I took a couple exact series result props. Golden State in 6, Golden State in 7. I actually do think it's got a chance to go 7. I took Golden State to win 4-2 plus 450, Golden State to win 4-3 plus 350. The way I see it is I think it's got a good chance for Golden State in 6 or 7. If one of those results hits, you make profit on it.
Yeah, and we all know the NBA is going to want it to go a little longer, so put that in your back pocket as well. Anybody else got anything on the NBA Finals? If not, Ian, you want to touch quickly on the NHL Finals?
Yeah, NHL, Nashville, Pittsburgh, Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight. Pittsburgh up 1-0. That's one of the most frustrating losses I've ever had in hockey or any sport the other night. The Nashville Predators, plus 150 underdog. They dominated that hockey game. They fell behind 3-0. There was an overturned offside challenge by Pittsburgh, took away Nashville's first goal by PK Subban, took it off the board 0-0, gave Pittsburgh momentum. They capitalized on a couple chances. A very, very questionable 5-on-3 man advantage. 2-man advantage given to the Pittsburgh Penguins for a full 2 minutes in the first period. They ended up scoring on it 1-0. They got momentum from that, scored a couple minutes later, 2-0. Third goal at the end of the period, ricochets off Pekka Rinne, the goalie, off the defenseman in the net, 3-0. And then from that point on, I'm thinking, oh boy, Nashville's in trouble. But Nashville showed you resolve. They said, oh, geez, we got the offside goal turned away. We didn't get it. We should have had it. We could have had it. They got 3 in the first period. Are we going to fold the tent? Are we going to pitch the tent and go home? No, they did not. They dominated the hockey game for the last 2 periods. They held Pittsburgh without a shot for 37 straight minutes in that game. They erased the 3-0 deficit, tied it up 3-3, third period. I'm thinking, oh boy, look at this. Pittsburgh can barely even muster any time in the offensive zone, can't even muster a shot. We got this now with Nashville. And the very first fucking shot Pittsburgh gets after 37 minutes in a row without one goes in the net. And they take a 4-3 lead, empty net goal, 5-3. Domination. It was 27-12 shots on goal. Pittsburgh held to 12 shots on goal, one of the fewest shots on goal totals held by any team in a Stanley Cup Finals victory. Pittsburgh able to get 5 goals on 12 shots, win that game 5-3. As frustrating a loser as I've ever had with Nashville the other night. But that's not going to deter me. I've got resolve. I've got guts to bounce back from a loss, and I think the Nashville Predators have some guts to bounce back from a loss. They didn't cower, turtle, and go home when they fell behind 3-0 in Game 1. They kept battling. They took the play to Pittsburgh in the last 2 periods of that hockey game, and I think Nashville's got something to prove. If they play anywhere close to the way they did in Game 1 Monday night, they've got a shot tonight. You can get plus 125 with them. What's Teddy say on SportsBit? You know, I think we'll look at this game when it comes to play of the day. I think I'll look at this one when it comes to best bet later in the show.
All right. Good stuff, Ian. Hey, big man, you want to touch on anything soccer before we do get to best bets?
You know what? Soccer's pretty much wrapped up for the year. Obviously, you got the Champions League final coming up. I have a future on Juventus at 10-1. This is really a coin flippy game or match. Listen, I won't bore people with my Juventus love affair, but look, they're the best defense in the world facing probably the best attack in the world. This is going to be a great game. If you don't watch a lot of soccer, maybe you're interested. This is going to be a good game to watch. You probably have the 2 best teams in the world here. But look, I mean, Juventus, their goalkeeper Buffon, he's been around for so long. He's never won the Champions League. They have such an amazing defense. It's hard to even explain how good they are defensively. They shut down Monaco. They shut down Barcelona. They shut down some of the best attacks in the world. It will be interesting to see. Ronaldo has a very good success against Juventus in his long and a great career. It's going to be much a coin flip as far as from a side perspective. It's hard for me to get involved. I'll watch this one as a fan. I'll hedge my bet that I can get even money on Real Madrid, basically. I'm going to come along with a good payday. From a betting perspective, I don't see a lot of value in betting this game. It really could go either way to me. I could see a situation where we see extra time. For me, I'm going to look to the goal scoring market, who scores goals. You can get Ronaldo to score anytime around even money. And for him, with who he is and what he is and how he scores goals in this stage, it's hard to not bet that. I'll also look to maybe a Deni Alves at 7-1 or someone like that. This should be a great match, should be a really contested match. But from a betting perspective, I just don't have too much. We'll look forward to next year as soccer kind of wraps up and we see what these teams do in the offseason. But I will be looking into some of the futures in the Premier League and things like that to get involved with. But nothing other than that, Drew.
Okay. And any final thoughts on Buster Posey?
Well, you know what? And I think Donnie will relate. We talked about this on our show, and I'm sure others will as well. For me, I don't care if it's my teammate, my colleague, my brother, my sister, whoever. If my friend's involved in a fight, I'm going to fight for him as well. And I'm not just going to stand there and let him get battered. I don't care if it was intentional or not. Where I come from, you back your friends up and you ride for your friends. If Donnie does something stupid out in public, doesn't matter. I'm going to still rock for him. That's my friend, my brother, my colleague. I get Buster Posey has injury issues, but you can't just stand there and allow your pitcher to get attacked. It was a sucker move. It was a pussy move, and it's something that should not stand in baseball. If you're going to allow your teammate to get beat up, I mean, you're the leader of the team, as he's pointed out. He should be going to defend his player. That's what I have to say about it.
No, you should, and I know everybody focuses on Posey there. If you're a teammate, maybe you don't like it. Let me tell you something. Management loves that because you're not going to lose them. Same way in hockey. You don't want Sidney Crosby dropping the gloves and busting up his hands. But also, if you watch that replay over and over, Brandon Crawford's getting no slack. I think he might have been the last man involved, sitting right at shortstop, just walking into the pile. So a lot of people there, but of course you're going to look at Posey because the catcher's job is to just tackle the guy when he runs out there. He's not going to get hurt. He saves the day, and he can always go back in the locker room like, yeah, man, I wasn't going to let him get to you. No way, no how. Meanwhile, you just tackle him from behind.
But I'm not even asking him to, like, throw punches. I'm just asking him to, grab him or something. I mean, he just let him run out there. I mean, no offense, but, like, if that helmet lands on Hunter Strickland, I mean, that could be bad. I mean, I don't know if anyone knows those helmets are – I mean, they could be weapons if they're thrown hard enough and at close enough range. You can't allow your pitcher, under whatever circumstance it was. Obviously, people think it was intentional. It probably was. Maybe Bryce Harper should think more about his conduct on the field and him obviously time and time again showing people up. I mean, Bautista got his ass kicked last year for the same thing. Bryce Harper should rethink the way and image that he has in this league. Not a lot of people like the guy. Again, we know he's very good, but it's not wrong to be modest and humble. I have problems at times with being humble. It's something I have to learn. I'm a young person. So does he. But at his level, he should be a little bit more mature in the way he shows people up. It's going to hurt him at some point, and it did here.
One thing that wasn't surprising me is one of the guys that did jump in there to defend his teammate, Jeff Samardzija.
Oh,
I mean, the ex-Notre Dame football player.
How about the concussion from Mike Morse out there?
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
Mike Morse concussion.
He did get a concussion?
He's on the 7-day DL for a concussion from Samardzija. You know which guy played football out there.
Wow.
Damn, yeah, that was the biggest collision of the whole thing right there.
It was awesome. That's two guys who didn't give a damn and wanted to get right involved and, like two cars crashing into each other. Kudos to both of those guys. Two big guys, too.
Yeah, man. Well, let's leave it at that. Anybody want to throw out any college football week 1 lines? We know South Point came out with all their week 1 lines. A couple other books have them as well, but anything stand out to you guys?
I mean, just quickly, I won't spend a ton of time. Obviously, it's May 31st, but it is always interesting to kind of get that feel. Football is on its way. It's always
never too early.
Sure. One thing I'm interested in, obviously, Drew and Donnie, a lot of us, we concentrate on some of the smaller conferences. I'll be interested to see how Western Michigan bounces back this year. Obviously, they lose a ton. They lose their quarterback. They lose their coach. Their coach, their quarterback, their receiver, their defense. I mean, they lose a ton. And I'm not a big fan of first-year coaches in kind of on teams like this. It's troublesome to get your program kind of intact. And you look at that first game against USC. Obviously, USC has some concerns as well, losing what they lost, but they're just so much more talented. It'll be interesting to see. I'm a big fan. My bread and butter is laying big numbers. I've laid 41 on SBR before. I have no problem doing it, and I'll continue to do it. But I'll look at this one. It's kind of intriguing. I want to see I think Western Michigan might be decent in the MAC, but against a team like USC, I wonder if they could stay in a game like that. I'm also looking at this Michigan-Penn State line a couple weeks down the road in college football. I think it's October 21st. I think a lot of people are going to look at that and kind of wonder, is that line a little too high? I mean, Teddy, your ears to the ground out there. I mean, what do you think about some of these?
Sure. Look, make no mistake about it. South Point is not putting out and did not put out mainstream point spreads. They took opinions on a lot of numbers. Chris Andrews, who's largely responsible for these point spreads, talk to him. You know, well, who's he high on? He's really high on Wisconsin. He's really high on Penn State. He likes Clemson. He likes Washington. He does not like Michigan. So, I mean, that Penn State, Michigan, you're like, what? You know, I mean, the first thing I saw, I'm like, is that is a line backward with Penn State 2 touchdowns over Michigan? I mean, are you kidding me? It's not going to be the point spread that week. But when you have a book that is willing to take opinions with their numbers, and again, the limits aren't ridiculous, $1,000 limits on these. It doesn't take much to move a line over at the South Point right now. But I respect the hell out of a book that'll take opinions with their opening numbers. And South Point has done that with these openers that we're talking about. So they're really high on Penn State. They're really down on Michigan. Hence that 1 point spread that stands out like a sore thumb.
Yeah,
They do lose a ton on defense, Michigan, but we're still talking about Jim Harbaugh. We're still talking about a guy that is going to recruit well and has recruited well there. You can't sell them short, in my opinion.
They lose a ton everywhere, though. I mean, you look at their receivers gone, their running backs gone. I mean, their secondaries just totally gutted. But you look at Penn State. I mean, they bring back a lot. I mean, other than Chris Godwin, really. But I think with some of the depth they have, it'll be a little. The one thing I'm concerned about with Penn State is how will they deal with kind of this national persona. I mean, they haven't really had that for a number of years.
Target on their back.
Yeah, they're picked. I mean, James Franklin, obviously that fanboy. They're picked. To go deep into the season, be kind of a perennial team all of a sudden after last year. She says, I wonder how they deal with that. Still a pretty young team for the most part, with a coach that is fairly, he hasn't been in the spotlight much either up until last year. So that'll be interesting as well. But I think Teddy and Chris Andrews make points. Michigan, it's going to be interesting to see how they come off a very successful season as well. They lost a lot last year.
Hey, guys, let me throw out a couple at you if any of these catch your eye. Central Florida -21 versus FIU. What about Hawaii -1 versus UMass? That one stands out at me. Like, what's going on there? Miami of Ohio laying 8.5 at Marshall week 1. I know Marshall was down and Miami of Ohio was up, but those are huge swings from what you would normally look at. Anybody got anything on those smaller teams?
The problem I have with Hawaii, Drew, is I'm never a fan of backing them
Where's that game at? Are they traveling to New Zealand again for that one, or where are they going?
I believe it's in Massachusetts, correct?
Yes, that's in Massachusetts. The bettors have certainly taken your opinion about the Miami Marshall line. That's down to 5. Been nothing but Marshall money so far for that one, and Hawaii's now up to 3 over UMass. So we've seen the money come on the road favorite there as opposed to the home dog.
I mean, I think people will look at that bowl performance last year that they had. Obviously, Nick Rolovich, I think he's going to do some good things there. And they were very good in that bowl appearance against Middle Tennessee last year in that Hawaii Bowl. But, yeah, I think a lot of people will look at that travel, and they had a tough schedule to start the year last year. I mean, they were on the road a ton and had a really brutal schedule. But I think he's working something out there. They're a team I will look into. Obviously, the bettors are looking into them as well. UMass is bad. I mean, I think they're a team that may not even belong in Division I at times. But yeah, I'm definitely looking. I'm more or less, more and more every day getting involved. I'm picking a couple teams a day and kind of going into them. I think, Drew, I know we're all big college football fans, but I'll tell you what, 3 years ago, I came on SBR and started with college football. This is kind of where I got my start on SBR, so it's kind of bittersweet to me. I thank SBR for allowing me to do that 3 years ago, and I'm looking forward to another 3, 4, maybe 3 months with SBR. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to football. It's a great thing that I think we all love.
I'm kind of disappointed. Foreshadowing of things to come might be this heavy money that Oklahoma State's taken, a team I'm very high on. I never undersell a Mike Gundy coach team. That's always been a team I've been leery of betting against in years past. They always, provide solid teams. Mike Gundy always does a great job there down in Stillwater, and they've just taken a ton of money against Tulsa. I'm just worried that people are on to the fact that this could be a pretty good team, and I think a big year upcoming for Mason Rudolph there with that Okie State team.
Yeah, college football is something we will be talking a lot more each week on the roundtable. But guys, hey, just one more thing. SBR June Bet Points Contest. Don't forget about it. Sign up under the SBR Contest tab at the top of the page. Also, please give us a like if you're liking the content we're putting out. And guys, let's get right into it. Maybe the best segment. We've had some success. We're doing best bets. Let's just start right around. Big man, what do you want to go for best bets today for the SBR Roundtable?
I'm going to go out on a limb here. We can look at this team and kind of say what we want, but I'm going to go with the Royals at home, minus 117. Boyd has struggled lately. I mean, he's had major issues. And, Kansas City, for the record, starting to hit a little bit. I mean, they're starting to kind of get out of that, major slump that this team seemed to be in. And, for the record, they've been very good at home. Obviously, much better years in previous years. But, they're still a winning team at home. It's not much. But, Detroit's lost 6 of 8. They're a bad offensive team on the road. They've had some issues. You look at last night, that Skoglund kid shut them down, which Donnie and I talked about his lack of experience in some of the higher leagues, but that was a nice thing to see. I mean, he seemed like excited. I mean, he seemed kind of like he didn't even expect it, but it was a nice performance by him. I think they kind of build off that. This lineup struggles, Detroit, right now. Boyd's had issues, and Kennedy I've talked about at home in Kauffman Stadium. I think it's that's a good place to back him. I don't really like him anywhere else, but particularly at home, I like Kennedy. I'll take a shot here with the Kansas City Royals. I can get them, where are we at? Minus 114 at Heritage. So I'll go with the Royals today. I'll take a shot with them at home.
Okay, so we got big man on campus on Kansas City Royals, minus 114 at Heritage. Donnie, you want to chime in with your best bet?
Yeah, last couple of weeks we've been rolling along with team totals and do it mostly on the square side, so we'll just keep that train rolling. We're going to go down to Texas today, and I'm going to take a shot at going against a pitcher, Austin Bibbins-Dirks. One of the guys that a career journeyman is being very polite to say it. Got to baseball in the majors, quote unquote, at 21 years old, starting in single A. He's going to make his debut as a starting pitcher, but has filled in a little bit here for Texas throughout the month. 8 minor league seasons at AAA, 5.16 ERA, and a whip of 1.44. When you get to the major leagues at 21 and you make your debut at 32, you're probably an afterthought in the organization. I'm sure he knows how to pitch, and he's smart, and he's a well-liked guy. But the one thing that I want is some bats that are going to be able to hit him, and Tampa Bay can do that. We're not even going to take a team total throughout the entire game. Let's just go first 5 and concentrate on this. It's over 2.5, minus 125 at 5 dimes. I think they can touch him up for 3-4 runs over the first 5 innings. The guys that I'm scared at when they're coming up are the Barrios type guys, the young flamethrower with electric stuff that nobody's seen before. Those are the call-ups I want to avoid. But one of these spot start type guys who's just probably a feel-good story. Hey, let's not burn one of our prospects up. He hasn't been up here. He hasn't started a lot. Go ahead and throw him, give him his shine, and we'll probably send him down or back to the bullpen shortly here. Look for Tampa to touch him up over the first 5. Let's go over the team total, 2.5 here for Tampa Bay.
Donnie, his game log or minor career log in the minors looks like Suge Knight's rap sheet.
It takes up my entire, when I go to Baseball Reference, it's literally my entire screen, and it's not even like he's like, okay, he's in one spot. It's literally like A ball, double A, A ball, double A, triple A, back to A ball, independently.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's a lot of bus trips, a lot of air miles. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So we got Donnie, Tampa Bay team total over 2.5, and that's in the first 5.
First 5 minus 125. You can get that line at 5 dimes.
Okay, good stuff, Donnie. Ian, what about you, man? What are you liking for best bets?
Well, maybe, you know what, if I get bashed upside the head with taking Nashville again, so be it. But tonight, NHL Stanley Cup Finals, Game 2, we talked about it earlier in the show. Nashville played a great game one. If they play anywhere close to that in game two, now it's reasonable Pittsburgh's going to play a lot better. They know they got away with one in game one, winning that game when they were outshot and were held without a shot in the game for 37 minutes in a row. Pittsburgh will play better, but I think Nashville can go toe-to-toe with this Pittsburgh team. They've got the better blue line with PK Subban, Roman Josti, Matthias Ekholm, and Ryan Ellis leading the way. Pekka Rinne has been a fantastic bounce-back goalie in these playoffs. Every time he's had a mediocre start, which he had in game one, he has been able to right the ship, bounce back in the very next game. Nashville 4-0, a perfect 4-0 in their 4 tries off a playoff loss this postseason. I think they got a chance to avoid 2 straight playoff losses. Once again, they haven't lost 2 in a row these entire playoffs. I think they avoided again tonight. Let's go Nashville plus 130. You can get it at the Greek at that price. Nashville plus 130. Game 2 Stanley Cup Finals tonight. My best bet for the Roundtable this week.
All right, Ian. So Nashville plus 130 at the Greek. NHL Finals. That's from Ian Cameron, best bet. And Teddy covers. Do you want to do a
Sure.
best bet? Okay,
Absolutely.
guys. But before he gets into it, how are we grading this one? Is this this going on the Roundtable grading system?
If it wins, yes. If it doesn't, no.
That's
That's
what
what
that's correct.
I'm kidding. No, yeah, I think we should count it.
Oh, yeah, we got to count it.
All
If it's
right,
on
we're
the show,
counting
we can
this.
count it.
So
Yep.
let's go, Teddy.
You better win, Teddy. You better win.
I'll do my best. I think it's a good play. My number was higher. I'm going to take the Dodgers and the Cardinals over 8 as the play of the day. Here's Carlos Martinez, right? The guy's got a gas can of a fastball, second highest in the majors in velocity. Look at the Dodgers lineup. Look what they do. They crush the fastballers. Their problems against the soft tossers and the lefties. I think Martinez, that the LA's lineup matches up well against Martinez. Meanwhile, Rue has been, he's been less than stellar. The Dodgers bullpen scoreless streak got snapped last night. And LA's in a situation now where they've played every day. I think it's now a couple of weeks where they played every day. It's not a fresh pen behind a starter who I think is suspect. So I think this game gets to 9 or more. Let's take the Dodgers and the Cardinals over 8.
Okay. So it looks like on the SBR odds screen, we can get that over 8 and even reduced juice at Heritage right now. So Teddy's on over 8 St. Louis, LA, minus 105 at Heritage, and that will be graded. So we got an extra one for you today. And I will be on, I'll take Ian Cameron's advice and do the nightcap, Colorado Sensatella plus 160, and you can get that at Bet365. Going to fade Paxton off the DL. But guys, anything else you want to throw out before we wrap this up?
Yes, the Phillies are down 3-0 in the first inning already. I want to throw that out.
What a shocker. They probably already lost. They can't score a flipping more than 2 runs in any game.
No, they get 4 hits a game, so they got to disperse them over 9 innings. So if you're down 3-0, I'm not even sure that's even capable.
If you're in
of a
Miami,
0.7 game.
Yeah, if you're in Miami watching that game, get on with your day. There's nothing more to see here. It's done.
Clevelanders right now in left field. Just get after it. Yeah.
It was funny. I was watching Major League last night. I hadn't seen it in a while, and I kept thinking about the Phillies. I'm looking at this lineup, and I'm saying, I feel like Jake Taylor would be a little bit better than this group. I mean, at least maybe Pedro Serrano could get a hold of one. This lineup is pathetic. I can't continue to see how they put this group out. They're tanking for sure, Donnie, I think.
It's a clear tank. It's a clear
Do they
tank.
have that woman managing them? That woman that wanted the Indians to lose in that movie? Is that who they have?
And move the team. Yeah, maybe they're looking to move the Phillies to Amarillo, Texas or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe, somewhere nice.
Yeah, just quickly, early score update. We got 2-0 Arizona in the fourth. Godley pitching like one so far. We've got 2-0 Astros. Boy, they keep bashing the baseball, this Houston team. What a lineup. They are already up 2-0 on the Twins, and it's 3-1 Cincinnati leading Toronto in the third.
All right, boys. Well, let's wrap it up on that. And everyone, don't forget about the SBR Bet Point contest. It's for June. It starts tomorrow. You can sign up right now. Free stuff, free to sign up. So if you do well, you will win, and we will be in it as well. So hopefully none of us embarrass ourselves, but I'm sure one of us will. It's what happens with MLB betting. But 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern every Wednesday. This is the Roundtable. Thank you, Teddy, for joining. You're welcome anytime. For Ian Cameron, Donnie, and Jeff, I'm Drew Martin. Thanks for tuning in. See you next Wednesday.